Hello?
Horror comes in many forms, but in all my years of delving into this genre and exploring these twisted narratives, there's one world and one particular story that still haunts me to this day. A story that asks the question of what it means to be alive, what it means to be truly human. It challenged my perceptions and consciousness, identity, and the fragile line that separates man from machine. In this video, I want to explore what sets it apart from others in its genre, and why does it leave such a profound impact. And that story is SOMA. Deep underwater, far from our familiar world, lies Pathos-II. It's a station that was meant to be a beacon of hope, a silent observer of the world above. But as I ventured through its grim corridors, the silence was broken by echoes of despair and the oppressive atmosphere pressing in from all sides. Here the game plays in our most primal phobias, the fear of the unknown, the fear of the deep ocean, the fear of the enclosed spaces, and the terror of being chased.
What's making that noise? Get over here! Pray for your life, you little shit!
In this submerged dystopia, I encounter glimpses of humanity's past. Not fond memories, but twisted shadows, remnants of what was once alive. The convergence between the organic and the mechanical gave rise to a haunting world where the dread lurked around every corner. But SOMA isn't merely a tale of horror, it's a philosophical odyssey that thrusts you into profound dilemmas about existence and what exactly defines consciousness.
So, where are you exactly?
Are you for real? I'm right here. See me waiting? Look at my hands. Hey, buddy.
Okay, I'm just gonna be, I'm not seeing it. I see a machine, a robot talking.
What the hell are you looking at? I'm here. See?
When SOMA first graced our screens nearly a decade ago, it didn't arrive unannounced. It came bearing the weight of expectations, crafted by none other than Frictional Games, the same team that plunged us into the suffocating darkness of the Castle Brennenburg with Amnesia: The Dark Descent. That game, with its inventive mechanics and relentless tension, redefined the horror genre for many. It's often hailed as a masterclass in terror, teaching us that the unseen and the unknown can be far more terrifying than any visible monster. With such a famous predecessor, SOMA had sizable shoes to fill, but instead of treading the same path, Frictional Games took a bold step forward. They moved from the gothic corridors of a haunted castle to the eerie, pressure-sealed chambers of an underwater facility. Yet they carried forward their expertise in crafting a tense atmosphere and layered it with profound existential questions. Where Amnesia made players question their sanity, SOMA made them question their very own humanity. But even though SOMA received critical acclaim upon its release for its narrative, themes, and atmospheric horror, it didn't achieve the same level of mainstream commercial success as Amnesia. And yes, it was appreciated by critics and a dedicated player base, but it was a bit divisive among a broader range of players, who were expecting a more traditional horror experience, similar to that of Amnesia, of course. The game's emphasis on existential dread and philosophical predicament over jump scares meant it appealed to a somewhat different audience. It's at this juncture that SOMA stands out, much like how Blade Runner brought profound existential questions to the sci-fi genre, or how Ex Machina intervened AI with human introspection. While those films raised questions about the essence of humanity in the face of technological advancements, SOMA takes it a step further by plunging us into the abyss, both literally and metaphorically. Its oppressive atmosphere carries a tension similar to the isolated dread one might feel while watching Alien or The Thing. In this sense, SOMA is more than just a mere horror experience. It's a deep, chilling introspection that you just can't shake off even after you have finished the game. The deep ocean has always scared me. Every time I've thought of diving or being deep below, I've felt like I was trespassing into a world where I don't belong. There's a primal fear associated with the vastness of the ocean and the crushing weight of the water. But with SOMA, that anxiety was dialed up 100-fold. The atmosphere in this world is more than a setting. It feels personal, like it's watching and responding to my every move. As I ventured into the watery depths of Pathos-II, it wasn't just the tangible threats that gripped me. It was the ever-present, suffocating atmosphere. Imagine finding yourself in an alien realm, a place untouched by sunlight, ruled by the laws of pressure and darkness. Every echo, every bubble that rises, feels like an intrusive reminder of how out of place you are. And in SOMA, the game heightens that sensation brilliantly. Walking through Pathos-II felt like wandering through the bowels of some gargantuan beast. Fires pulse like veins, and the echoes of what were once humans constantly remind me of the blurred boundaries between man and machine. The feeling of isolation is palpable, and trust me, as someone who feels the weight of solitude even in crowded spaces, the metallic confines of Pathos-II felt both like a refuge and a prison. Sounds, or sometimes the haunting absence of them, plays tricks on your mind. From the distant sounds to the sudden, startling clangs, you're always on edge. It taps into that sensation when you're alone at home, hearing a noise, uncertain if it's just a creak or something more ominous. In SOMA, it's a relentless sensation, reminding you that you're never truly alone.
Imminent. Proceed to the emergency vessels.
Visually, the game's use of light and shadow constantly toyed with my perceptions. There were times I found solace in dark corners, only for a fleeting light to reveal a lurking horror. The way the game uses sporadic light sources made me constantly second-guess what I saw. Was that just a machinery in the distance? Or was it something else? In all my experiences with horror, few games, or movies for that matter, have felt as viscerally unsettling as SOMA. It's not about the monsters or the chases, it's about the constant feeling of being somewhere you shouldn't be, of disturbing a balance that was never meant to be interrupted by a human. After a few hours in this world, it wasn't just the story I was immersed in, it was the very essence of the world's oppressive and ever-watchful atmosphere that stayed with me. But if the atmosphere of SOMA serves as its pulse, then its characters are its beating heart. Every soul, or at least the impression of one, offer a glimpse into a world teetering on the brink of existential collapse. Horror, in its essence, thrives on its ability to make you relate, feel, and empathize with its characters, right? And in SOMA, the characters aren't just vehicles for scares, they're complex narratives onto themselves, driving the game's introspective questions about identity, consciousness, and humanity. Just take for instance Simon, our protagonist. Waking up in this submerged nightmare, his own identity is a puzzle wrapped in layers of existential questions. His journey isn't just about surviving, it's about reconciling his existence in a world that has moved on without him.
I give up. There's nothing left.
Calm down, it's not the end of the world.
You sure? It sure as hell looks like it. For all I know, there's no one left except for me.
What do you mean? I'm right here.
Don't take this the wrong way, but I meant any humans left except for me.
Have you looked at yourself lately? You're a walking, talking diving suit with some electronics slapped on for good measure.
I don't.
You don't want to think about it? We'll start thinking about it.
I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be this. I want out.
But the beauty of SOMA lies in the smaller tales, the side characters you encounter. There's the heartbreaking plight of Robin Bass, forever hopeful yet tethered to a delusion. Or the bitter story of Dr. Catherine Chun, her digitized form contrasting with her very human desires and regrets. Each character is a philosophical touchpoint, prompting us to grapple with ideas of consciousness, sentience, and the very nature of existence. Remember that robot earlier, convinced he's human, unable to accept his transformed state? Meeting him was one of those chilling moments where you're confronted with a mirror, reflecting not just a character's anguish, but echoing our own fears about identity and self-perception. And it's not just about the AI-driven characters. The legacy of the human staff, their audio logs, their final moments, all paint a portrait of humanity at its most vulnerable. When faced with oblivion, what choices would we make? How far would we go to preserve any resemblance of life, even if it meant becoming something other, whatever other means? In all this, SOMA masterfully ensures that no character, no matter how briefly encountered, feels superficial. They're not just cogs in the machine, they're threads that connect and build the world around us. Their stories challenge us, making us reflect on our own beliefs, fears, and the line we draw between man and machine. By connecting these personal tales with the broader narrative, SOMA achieves a deeply emotional connection, ensuring that these digital echoes of humanity remain etched in our memories.
Hey, are you...
Don't hurt me!
Can I help?
It won't let me die. Nothing is allowed to die.
What happened?
An accident. Fixing the power. I was going to Theta.
Anything I can do?
If you see Masters or Holland, tell them I need help. Okay? Amy needs help.
Shit, are you okay? Are you okay?
I don't know. I want to go home.
The allure of this game isn't its hide-and-seek gameplay with monsters, nor solely in its haunting atmosphere. No, the game's true draw lies in its deep philosophical undercurrents that persistently tug at your mind, urging you to stop and think. For me, every corner of this world posed a question. Every interaction, every choice, every revelation was an invitation to dive deeper into the murky waters of philosophy, as well as my own mind. I've always been captivated by stories that delve into human condition, but SOMA is relentless. It's not content to merely skim the surface, but pushes you to plunge into the abyss of existential thought. And trust me, these moments will challenge you, making you question the very fabric of your understanding. Imagine waking up in a world where you're the only conscious being, surrounded by digital imprints of the past. What does it mean to be you? Is your consciousness continuous? Or is it merely a series of snapshots, replaced and replicated over time? Just who exactly are you? SOMA isn't shy about tackling these questions head on. It delves into the nature of identity, the essence of the soul, and what it means to be truly alive. You're frequently thrust into scenarios that challenge the definition of life itself. Do machines with human memories and emotions deserve the same consideration as flesh and blood beings? Can a digital consciousness truly be called alive? I remember one particular haunting choice I had to make. With limited power in a section of the facility I was in, I was faced with a dilemma. Do I sacrifice a seemingly sentient machine to progress through the level, or do I look for an alternative, risking my own safety? The weight of that decision, knowing that pulling a lever could end what seemed like a conscious existence, was deeply unsettling. And what if you're not even given the choice? What if you have to pull the lever? But SOMA's philosophical depth isn't just limited to these binary choices. It pushes you to introspect about broader themes. The transcends of existence, the morality of survival, the fear of obsolescence in the face of unstoppable technological advancement. The game doesn't always offer answers, and that's precisely its strength. It leaves you with lingering thoughts, making your journey through its depths a deeply personal one. What I felt during SOMA will not be the same as what you will feel when you experience it. You see, SOMA is not a passive experience. It's almost like a philosophical dialogue that you constantly are having with yourself. As you navigate its world, you're not just surviving, you're making decisions that resonate beyond the confines of the game. In many ways, SOMA is descendant of the philosophical thought experiments we've seen in the works of great thinkers, like the ship of Theseus paradox, regarding identity over time. For example, if all the parts of a ship are replaced gradually and one at a time, it poses this question: is the vessel that exists after the replacements The same ship as the vessel that existed before the replacements? Or is the new ship? SOMA takes these abstract concepts and embodies them into palpable, immersive experiences, forcing us to confront and grapple with them head on. By the time I reached the game's conclusion, I felt a profound sense of exhaustion. Not from fear or gameplay challenges, but from the weight of reflection it demanded. And I will not go through what happens at the very end, but trust me, it will make you think. And it's always better to experience it first on your own. SOMA is more than just a game. It's a philosophical journey that challenges, disturbs, and enlightens. It's a testament to the power of gaming as a medium, to not just entertain, but to make us question, ponder, and redefine our understanding of existence.
Thanks, Simon. Don't be mad, okay? We really needed that chip. We'd be stuck here.
Could you do it? Kill a robot like that?
I get attached to them too. I'm not a monster. But in this case, it had to be done.
He was talking. I mean, he was delusional, but he seemed sincere. Present.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it's fine.
Was he really that different from us?
The allure of any horror game is its ability to generate fear, but what differentiates them is the manner in which they achieve it. While many stories rely on jump scares, or gore, or grotesque visuals to unsettle players, SOMA takes a more nuanced approach. Spending time in this world makes a cold chill run down your spine. It's not just the environmental horror that instills fear, but the way SOMA manipulates the very mechanics of gameplay to invoke unease in you. This wasn't my first dance with fear in a video game, but SOMA played a different tune. One that knew how to keep me on my toes while always second guessing what lurked in the shadows. You know that feeling when you're in deep water, uncertain of what might be beneath you? That's how I felt navigating through SOMA. The environment itself is designed to make you feel vulnerable. There's a certain unpredictable rhythm to the game. Sometimes it lulled you into false sense of security with its silence, only to shatter it with a distant echo of something unnatural. The game beautifully employs the classic less is more approach. Instead of overwhelming you with constant threats, it makes you hyper aware of your surroundings. Every creak, every flickering of the light, and even the very act of opening a door becomes a calculated risk. Do I really want to know what's on the other side? This world builds its horror mechanics around your anticipation. The enemies you face are not just physical threats. They embody the game's themes of corrupted humanity and distorted reality. There's no combat system here. You can't just fend off these monstrosities. This in turn amplifies the feeling of vulnerability. Instead of being the hunter, you're the hunted. But what truly sets SOMA apart is the sense of permanence it brings to the table. In many horror games, when you're caught by an enemy, it results in a mere game over screen, and you're back to try it again, right? But in SOMA, getting caught often doesn't mean the end, it means a change. The game dynamically alters your environment based on your actions, and a mistake might not lead to death, but to a more challenging or distorted reality. These mechanics also serve the narrative. The way the game deprives you of certain senses, like vision, when you're near one of these monsters, mirrors the game's themes of identity and loss. As your vision distorts and sound becomes muffled, you're reminded again about this fragile line between man and machine, between being in control and being controlled. By the end, the mechanics of SOMA had me questioning more than just what lurked around the corner. They made me question my own actions, my decisions, and the very nature of a reality of the game's world. It's not just about being scared, it's about understanding why you're scared. And that, in itself, is a masterful achievement in game design. When you think of horror games, titles like Resident Evil or Silent Hill might come to mind. They've set standards for the genre, mastering the art of fear through grotesque monsters or hair-raising atmospheres, and SOMA, it carved its own niche to stand next to these giants without needing to raise its head. And when we think of the legacy of a game, we often look how it influenced its successors. And in the case of SOMA, the ripples it created can be felt far and wide. Its introspective narrative style has become a benchmark for other developers who aim to craft deep, thought-provoking experiences. Post-SOMA, we've seen a surge in titles that lean more into psychological horror, where the real enemy isn't a monster, but one's own mind, and the unsettling questions that arise from it. But beyond its influence on game design and storytelling, SOMA's impact extends to its community of players. Delve into any forums or specific subreddits, you'll find a wall of discussions, fan theories, and personal reflections, all spurred by the game's thought-provoking narrative. For many, including myself, SOMA wasn't just a game to be played and shelved, it was a topic of introspection, debate, and pure awe. The game's emphasis on identity, consciousness, and morality in a technological age resonates even more today, as we stand on the cusp of significant advancements in AI and digital consciousness. SOMA's themes are not just futuristic speculations, they're pressing questions for our current age, making its narrative increasingly relevant with each passing year. As the credits rolled when I first completed SOMA, I sat back, awestruck. It wasn't just the culmination of a game, it felt like the end of a transformative journey. And as years pass, its legacy only grows more profound. SOMA serves as a shining example of what video games can achieve, not just as entertainment, but as profound vehicles of art, thought, and emotion. In closing, after journeying through the depths of SOMA's narrative and mechanics, it becomes evident why this masterpiece stands apart in its genre. It's not just a game to be played, it's an experience to be lived, a story to be told and retold, a journey to be embarked on time and time again. The profound impact it leaves is a testament to its unparalleled exploration of identity, consciousness, and humanity. So here's to the masterpieces that push boundaries, that challenge, and inspire. Here's to SOMA.
That's great.
And then we can start listening to other people when they talk, because that's how conversations work.
What? Oh, sorry. I just can't stop thinking about what we've become. It's clear that we're no longer human. But then how can I feel like Simon? How can I feel like anything at all? I mean, technically, I don't have any ears, no mouth. Christ, that's a weird thing to think about. I mean, I'm making sounds. I'm still saying things.
You sure are.
If you enjoyed this video, I also made a video essay on Dutch Vanderlyn from Red Dead Redemption 2 you can check out next. Thanks for watching.